to FCADC Studio 1900 for another edition of Mike on the Mic. I am Mike Ross, and I, along with our producer, David Mackley, a.k.a. Bosco, interview local movers, shakers, and policymakers about issues that matter to all of us, or at least most of us. Nothing is off limits. And today, I'm absolutely looking forward to our guest being here. This is going to be an informative podcast, and you're going to learn not only a lot about Colonel Caleb Lewis, who's the new commander of Letterkenny, but also the importance of Letterkenny and some of the things taking place at the depot, looking both retrospectively and into the future as to what goes on at what is now the second largest employer in Franklin County,
Yep.
but really the backbone to our economy since 1942. So, Colonel Lewis, welcome.
Thank you, sir. No, happy to be here.
Great.
We call you. And before we start, I want to just make sure that I thank you for your service and your commitment to our country and all those who are working at Letterkenny and for what they do on a daily basis to protect all of us.
No, I can appreciate that. I'm happy to serve, and I can tell you on behalf of the more than 1,500 employees that we have at Letterkenny Army Depot, they feel the same way. You know, a dedicated, intelligent, hardworking group of men and women that are coming through the gates each and every day to make sure that we have the material necessary to be effective at home and abroad.
So, well, thank you, and thank you to all of them. But before we jump into your command role, let's start with Caleb Lewis. Okay?
Oh, boy.
Okay. Where do you call home originally, and where do you call home now?
Okay, the first one's easy to answer. So I was born and raised in a small town in western New York State, just outside of Rochester, New York, in a place called Canandaigua, New York, which is an Iroquois name.
Yep.
So one of the Finger Lakes. Great wine area,
Yeah, yep.
rolling hills, glacially made lakes, middle class, blue collar kind of area, and I think that's one of the reasons that I really like this area.
Okay.
The geography
Very similar.
is very similar, right? It's farmland, it's rolling hills, and so that's why I think when I come to South Central Pennsylvania, it's very similar to where I grew up in Western New York State. So lots of snow. We were talking about it. It's pretty warm today. It's probably not that warm where I'm from, 4.5 hours north, because right about now we're getting feet worth of lake effect.
Lake effect.
Yeah.
Lake effect. Yeah.
So, so what we get are all dustings by comparison.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if we get, for us, a huge storm is 6 inches or more, and that doesn't slow anything down, I'm sure, where you
No.
grew up.
Nope. No, you got it. And I'm just coming from Arlington, right, where if there is a chance of mild precipitation and the weather's below 32 degrees,
The whole
we're gonna
place
shut
shuts
down
down.
everything for a week. So,
Yeah.
So, yes.
But to your second question, where do I call home now? I think it's the old cliche, like home is where the Army brings me, right? And so I've been in 10 different states in the last 23 years and lived in 3 different countries. So at this point, I'm pretty malleable in terms of I'll chameleon wherever I need to and call home wherever my household goods happen to show up.
So to that point, how does your wife manage that?
She herself is a former military police officer.
Okay, so she
spent
gets it,
close to 6 years on active duty. So she gets it. And at this point, even our 3 children, 10, 13, and 16, they kind of get it too. Although, truth be known, it is getting a bit harder. My oldest is now 16, and it's kind of like, hey, I don't want to necessarily move every 4 months. But it's been a good life so far, and so that's a really long-winded way to say my home is currently Carlisle Barracks, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And a year and a half from now, I'll write you a letter and let you know where I'm at.
Well, you can stay an extra year if you want to. We would,
I'll
if
try.
you like it, we'd like to have that, and your son can certainly graduate from Carlisle or Cumberland Valley or wherever he's going up there to school.
Yes, and so all of my children, this was the first time they've ever gone back to the same school district that they were previously when we were here 2 years ago at the War College, And so for them, it's they're like kids in the candy store in terms of, hey, I remember this hallway and I remember that teacher.
Okay.
So it's a unique experience that probably the majority of children in the United States have that mine are just coming to terms with for the first time. So it's really a win-win.
Good. Where'd your wife train at?
She trained at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
I wonder if I don't know if she would have known my brother. My brother trained military police officers
Okay.
at Fort Leonard Wood.
All right. Well, she would have went through officer basic course in 2003.
I think he would, trying to think if he'd have been there in 2003. He just retired from Fort Leonard Wood.
Isn't he in a Hall of Fame?
He's in
military
the Leonard
police.
Yeah,
Police
okay.
Hall of Fame, yeah. 2003, though, I don't think he was there yet. I think he was still down in Alabama, and then he had been over in Croatia. So I don't know. But yeah. So, so that's good. Dave Ross is his name, still is his name. He's still with us.
Okay.
So I'll ask him. What's your wife's maiden name?
Maiden name Hyslop. It's a unique one. So Hyslop.
Okay. I can remember that.
Not many. Yeah, there are
I
not
can
many out.
remember that. So where'd you go to school?
So got my undergraduate's degree at Colorado State University.
My uncle was the head of the construction management program at
Are we gonna do
Colorado.
this is like Kevin Bacon?
yeah,
It's
it's
like,
gonna-
okay.
He's
that's
going to
fair.
one up you. On
I like it.
everything.
No,
Hey.
I
It's just
No,
coincidental.
no, I like it. So I'm one of 9 children in total in my family.
goodness.
Well, a mix of full, half, and step siblings. I am the only one that left the great state of New York and went out west.
What took you to Colorado State?
They were at the time one of the only universities in the United States that had an active archaeological dig site, and I went for archaeology. That's where I wanted to be since I was 6 or 7 years old, and I made my way out there, and that's what I went to school for, and that's the degree I graduated with. So
at 6 years old, you got interested in archaeology.
I don't know if it was
Wow.
an Indiana Jones
Indiana
movie or
Jones.
what.
Wow.
I'd have left my fedora at home, but yeah. So I had the good fortune for about 18 months. Colorado State University owned the rights to be able to dig at a place now it's called the Kaplan Hoover site.
Mm-hmm.
It was found when someone was building homes and determined to be one of the oldest archaic buffalo kill sites in the United States. What that really means is before tribes were tribes, they were large bands of people coming north and south. They would meet in what is now north central Colorado, and they would hunt an extinct bison called Bison antiquus, which was 8 to 10 feet at the shoulder. So an enormous
wow.
bison.
This is great.
Now, mind you, this is before the Spanish. Well, this is like 800 BC. Okay.
Okay.
So
Wow.
more than 2,000 years old. So this is, pre-bow and arrow. They're using atlatls and spears and really driving these large bison into arroyos and then processing them after the fact. And so I had the good pleasure of being able to work on that site for a little over a year. And then we did what we could, and then we gave it back to the person that owned it because they were a private developer.
There's a major archaeological site in Antrim Township down in Greencastle that is preserved.
Yeah.
And so you may want to just check it out sometime.
Yeah, for sure.
It's literally right off of Interstate 81, right off of Route 11 specifically. But yeah, well, we can get you directed down there where they have artifacts that allegedly date back 11,000 years.
Right in the
So-
middle of a business park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
literally.
It's where
But
it's
it's
always
preserved.
at.
Literally,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's where it's always
It's
at.
all been preserved.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a huge history buff, and I don't care whether it's 2,000 years old or something that occurred in the 20th century. I just like reading about it and kind of understanding where we came.
So after Colorado State, where'd you head off to?
Well, I commissioned in 2002,
Okay.
and then my first duty station was in Fort Richardson, Alaska, Anchorage.
So you went from snow to snow to snow.
It's snow, yeah. It's a good problem to have. I'm a all-weather, 4 seasons kind of
Are
guy.
you a skier?
I am.
Okay, that's good. So, did you do any archaeological digs while you were commissioned up in Alaska?
No archaeological digs, and this is prior to my EOD, my bomb disposal days. So I wasn't even digging in the ground for bombs at the time. So I was doing straight maintenance work as an ordnance officer.
Okay,
sir.
So that's. Do you like Alaska?
We loved Alaska. I met my wife up there, and we still own a property up there in a place called Eagle River, which is a few miles north of the base itself.
Do you get back often?
I do not, unfortunately. You know, it's just
But that's a place.
It's
at some
way
point
out
in your
there.
life
it's
you
way out
will.
there. I mean, you're especially on the East Coast. You can get to Ireland as quickly as you can get to Alaska, legitimately, right? It's like
Right.
6 or 7 hours in either direction.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, we have not brought our kids up there. We do need to do that, and we still do have a property up there that we rent out.
So when you were growing up and one of 9 siblings and so on, were you into sports, music, or in addition to archaeology?
So all of the above. I was. I'm probably. Again, I'll go back to that chameleon comment earlier. I kind of fit in everywhere, or at least tried to fit in everywhere. I was heavy into arts, so I was with the artsy kids, but I was also academically inclined, so I was in the National Honor Society. I was an Eagle Scout. I was a varsity letter in both wrestling and soccer. So I kind of hung out with everyone. I wasn't in the drama club, although my siblings were, so I would go to those events. And I played violin early on in my life, but again,
That's like the
Jeez.
Renaissance.
but then got rid of it. I wish I had stuck with it, but no, I really just enjoy the wide variety that life itself has to offer, and I think I was able to find that early on in middle
That's
school.
that's great. So what shaped you and drove you? I mean, you obviously want to go to school to be an archaeologist, but then what decided to say, look, I want to pursue a military career?
So again, go back to the one of 9 siblings. So being able to pay for college, difficult. And I went in on partial academic scholarships. This is pre 9/11, and then quickly found that there were openings for the ROTC program, and that they were providing 2.5-year scholarships. And because I was paying my way through school for the most part, found that was going to be a good conduit, and so really jumped in the ROTC program primarily to pay for school, and then. 2 years, a year and a half into my ROTC career, 9/11 happened, and the world changed overnight. And we quickly found, all of us that were in that ROTC program, quickly found that our lives were going to be much different than perhaps we thought, understanding that the cadre we were working with, their experiences in any type of combat may have been Desert Storm, but primarily were a garrison army at the time.
Wow. That's
Crazy. Yeah.
That's really fascinating. So, and before we get into your overall career and so on, do you have any hobbies that you pursue and still that you may have developed in high school or college that you still do, or picked up new ones, or you're a golfer or something like that?
So I will tell you, I am not a golfer. My hobbies are now my children's hobbies.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a good problem to have. So for instance, tonight I've got my oldest daughter is part of an improv club at her high school. So I'll be going to an improvisation night with a troupe of 20 individuals.
Are they going to Carlisle High School?
They are.
They have
Nice.
improv night.
Yeah.
at Carlisle High
Yeah,
School. Wow.
improv night. They actually travel around the United States. They were in D.C. last weekend. They'll be in Chicago
Really?
at some point.
Is it comedy or just like skit work? Like
It's-
they're doing skits and
Both.
okay. Yeah.
Both. But so that's great. My
So
two
a
younger
budding entertainer.
entertainer. My 2 younger children, the 10 and 13-year-old, they're involved in both scouting, which I've been at the last 2 nights, as well as basketball, soccer. So we're in that phase of our life right now, mid-40s.
A very engaged parent.
Where we enjoy the hobbies that our children enjoy. On my downtime, I'd say I do a lot of reading, just personal reading, and a little bit of painting every now and again. I used to do a lot more large-scale acrylic painting, but that's
All right. You are the
mate.
Renaissance man. This
I'll
is
be
great.
honest with you, Colonel. I don't think you're the typical Army officer. And I mean that in a good way. Like,
You have a lot of varied interests.
yeah,
a lot of varied interests.
violin.
I'll blow
and
your mind
painting.
when I will tell you I think one of the questions on here was like, what would you tell someone that doesn't know that much about you or would be surprised? I'm a huge Grateful Dead fan. My wife would say,
Oh,
tell
my.
them that you're a Deadhead.
So-
you look at the back of my truck, it's all Grateful Dead.
I see
my-
Punk's
Girl.
Not Dead on your phone too. Does that say Punk's Not Dead?
Yeah, Punk's not dead, but
So
yeah,
I have an almost son-in-law, who is a huge Grateful Dead fan.
oh, he sounds like a fantastic individual.
He is. You guys would get along great, and yes, he and his whole family are Grateful Dead enthusiasts.
It takes a tribe. So when I'm not wearing camouflage, it's usually this pattern, but it's in brighter colors.
Tie-dye, yeah.
One would
Nice.
not imagine. I went to see the tribute band up at the Lure Center.
Okay.
And they were actually pretty good. They kind of just straggled on the stage. They got there when they got there.
Yeah.
And played.
Sounds about right.
Yep. And it was a fun night, but that's probably as close to authentic as you could get, but they're still not the real thing.
Are you a
But they
fan
were
of?
good.
Well, because the real thing are they're 85 years
Yeah.
old now and or non-existent.
Do you listen to Dead and Company or whatever?
I do. I took my middle daughter. Her first concert was Dark Star Orchestra.
That's what we saw.
Okay, they're fantastic. They're
That's
one of
what
the
we saw.
they're one of the best out
That's
there.
what we saw.
Yeah, and they're about as authentic as you're gonna get. They're very talented individually as musicians. I took my oldest. Her first concert a few years back was Bob Dylan. We saw him down in Florida. At 83, 84 years old, still playing for 3 hours straight. Remarkable.
Did he
This
do
guy.
No, that was good. Yeah, but I saw Bob.
You should
Dylan
come work
over
here.
there. Yeah, really.
We
So
should.
that would be great. Because he was interesting. So he didn't speak for first half of the concert. That just played in
Yeah.
that like I'm here because they paid me to be here. And
Yeah,
that
well,
was pretty much it.
Yeah.
But all right. So no, this is really one of the most fascinating
this is great.
interviews we've done.
Yeah.
So walk us through. Well, you did in part, but walk us through your service career. So you started out in Alaska
So I did. So I started out in Alaska. I probably have
as an ordnance officer.
as an ordnance officer. I probably have a bit of a non-traditional Army
That doesn't surprise me anymore.
Army path.
That
All right,
does not
so
surprise me.
So I went in as a traditional ordnance officer. I deployed within the first 6 months of being in the Army, and we were actually the first unit to deploy to a combat zone out of Alaska since Vietnam. And so I was with the first of the 501st Parachute Infantry Regiment, and so that was in 2003. And we took over what we call FOB Salerno from the Italians. Landed with 850 task force members, primarily infantry. I was one of the handful of non-infantry types. And then we just conducted maintenance and, work defeating terrorists in the Coast Province, which is like Bin Laden's hometown. This is 2003, 2004 timeframe. Came back home. Met my wife 48 hours after being back in the United States. We didn't know. She didn't know she was my wife at the time, mind you.
Yeah.
But you knew she was going.
Yeah. And left Alaska in 2005 to go to the Captain's Career Course in Maryland, ordnance officer Captain's Career Course. Came out of that as a multifunctional logistician, which is what they call the transportation, quartermaster, and ordnance officers would all go to the same course, and when we graduated, we became logisticians.
Okay.
Left there, went immediately to Iraq in 2006 and 7 as a logistics officer for a light infantry Iraqi battalion. So 10 Americans living with 800 Iraqis on an Iraqi base. Did that that was interesting.
Yeah.
During the surge, and actually 2007 was the deadliest year for U.S. forces in Iraq. So it was a very difficult year. Came back home and then immediately went to EOD school because I had known prior to going to Iraq that I wanted to be an explosive ordnance disposal officer. And I was actually one of the last captains that was allowed to go through school because they went from recruiting just captains to go to where we started growing our own. So we would create EOD officers as lieutenants. So luckily I snuck in at the very end and was one of the last captains that was allowed to go through that school down in Florida. So it's almost a year-long school that is run by the Navy, but all the services attend it.
You like Florida?
I'm not a huge fan of Florida, so I like the Florida tax code.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm a property owner in Florida, but it's a bit too hot and humid for me. And I would say where we were in the Panhandle, we call that L.A., right? That's Lower Alabama. It's not really. It's Florida, but
It's not really.
the people from Miami will tell me that's not Florida.
Right.
So came out of EOD school in 2008 timeframe, went to Colorado, and then soon after deployed to Iraq for my third tour in 2010, 2011, where I commanded a explosive ordnance disposal company in support of 4th Infantry Division in southern Iraq, responsible for around 21,000 kilometers worth of area, just diffusing IEDs and bombs and ensuring the safety of the force. Soon after that, left, did my professional military education, went and commanded a special unit called the 21st WMD, where we work directly with the Department of Energy. It's actually the only active duty Army unit in the state of New Mexico, and working on improvised nuclear devices.
Yeah, I got it now. We're
great.
not even halfway through this. I can't believe what an underachiever I have.
Yeah, I
in my
know.
life. Listening to you, this is yeah.
Well, it reads well on paper.
No,
but
no,
I'll
no.
tell
This
you,
is
it's
this
not
is
all
no,
that-
this is fascinating, and we're incredibly happy that you are here today. So, what brought you to the depot,
So
to Letterkenny?
Orders.
Yeah, well,
Aside from
so
orders.
and so I'll tell you. So a few things. Number one, I think you can already tell, I don't like doing the same thing twice.
Right.
I got to spend 3.5 years in the Netherlands as well, working for a joint force
okay,
headquarters.
keep going. I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, and I say that to say, I went from the Netherlands for 3.5 years, working for a NATO headquarters and traveling around to places like Belarus and Georgia and Armenia, teaching counter IED to partners and allies. And then, found my way to the War College, and then ultimately to the Pentagon, where I was able to be the Pentagon liaison for the Army Materiel Command, our 3-star headquarters commanded by Lieutenant General Christopher Mohan. And so part of that is, as I got to see the greater logistics community and sustainment community, I wanted to continue to be a part of it, but play a different role. And the depot life offered an opportunity that I had yet to exercise in being able to work in a primarily Department of the Army civilian organization, as well as work at a strategic sustainment level. And again, it's just something that I had dealings with, but had never been within that said organization. And then just to see how it has the effect, you have the direct daily effect to provide material readiness to the Army, to the Joint Force, to our partners and allies, and it truly is a global enterprise. We have guys and gals that are traveling around the world on a monthly basis, providing world-class support, and their launch pad is here in Chambersburg. It's really phenomenal when you really look at it.
What's the biggest adjustment? Because you have such a varied and diverse background. What's the biggest adjustment you've had to make since you arriving at Letterkenny?
The scope and scale of the mission. So this artisan workforce of 1,500 strong does everything from weld titanium to rebuild circuit cards to provide quality control and quality assurance on aerospace, industrial standard material, to taking apart and putting back together missiles, to working on state-of-the-art launcher platforms, and everything in between. So when I look at, and we had earlier been talking about, what is your workforce comprised of? That's a really hard question because it's almost everything. And so I couple all that with the fact that not only do they do that, but they are legitimately the best in the world at what they do. And that's not hyperbole. When we have nations that are calling directly to our depot, that are asking for us to come forward, whether it's in Europe or Southeast Asia, and they're asking for certain individuals that we have to come and fix their systems because they can't find something of the like that's closer to them, that tells a lot about just the caliber of professional that we have, that we've grown from scratch here in Franklin County.
So let's continue that, because I know we talked earlier, and workforce development, workforce training is a priority of yours.
It's number one.
So talk about that and what the challenges are,
Yes, sir.
what the opportunities are.
So I will tell you the challenges, and I'm going to give you two figures. And the first one is concerning, and the second figure should be a bit frightening. So the concerning number is when I take a look across at our force, the average age is 46. Now listen, I turned 46 in November, so we're still we like to believe we're still relatively young. Listen, I wake up every day.
You're still able to get it done.
But for us, 46 really means that in 10 or 12 or 13 years, that individual is going to be retiring. They've reached retirement age, and I'm going to lose them, or we are going to lose them. So that's of concern. I'd like that median age to be pushed to the left. The more frightening number to me is, again, when I look at as a total percentage, only 7% of my workforce is under the age of 30. That is a number, that percentage, in my opinion, should be closer to, I'd like 45 or 50% to be under the age of 30. Because those are the people I'm going to, and we are going to collectively rely on to continue to carry that torch 15 years from now, when that earlier population I talked about have gone home, and rightfully so, because they've earned their retirement. And so I can have $1 million facilities, and I can have great investments in the machinery at Letterkenny Army Depot, but I can't automate away that problem. I'm always going to need men and women to come in through those gates every day and work hard at achieving the material readiness that our nation deserves.
What kind of skill sets for those who are listening or watching, and you're looking at, we need to, and I know you have a hiring challenge right now. So in terms of trying to fill some of the positions you have available, it's difficult right now, maybe impossible in some cases. But by and large, what are the skill sets required to take the depot into the future?
Yes, sir. And so it's really broad in scope. And so it's everything, again, from people, artisans working with their hands every day, machinists, IT personnel, all the way up to the engineer types, right? Mechanical engineers, electrical engineers. But we also I've got a team of finance professionals. I've got a team of contract professionals. So we really are all-encompassing in terms of what it is we accomplish on a daily basis. So it's not just I would say the more blue-collar work of working with your hands, welding, fabricating, machining. But we also have a lot of administrative overhead positions that, right, in times of growth are required to support those mainstay depot activities from day to day.
And you are working with the Franklin County Career Tech and the various school districts, as well as our local universities, Shippensburg in particular, Penn State, Wilson, and so on, as trying to make sure that you're creating at least internship or externship opportunities for some of those students to get them exposed to what you're doing, correct?
Yes, sir, 100%. So both our vocational programs as well as our intern programs we've been utilizing for a large amount of time. We have interns as we speak, where they'll spend 2 or 3 summers with us working on projects, growing those networks, understanding the depot life and the ins and outs, with the understanding that post-graduation, they have the ability to sign on with the federal government, become a Department of the Army civilian, and then really pick up where they left off that summer. This last summer, we were unable to hire to that just because of the current government freeze as the Department of Defense and the Army right sizes. But I think, there is light at the end of that tunnel. It's not a train. It is significant opportunity. And I do see, from a depot perspective, us being able to reinvigorate the hiring of those professional individuals once they do come out of those programs.
in terms of talking about opportunities and talking to young people about wanting to come work at the depot, how would you sell them on wanting to work at Letterkenny? Like the culture, and the like.
Yes, sir. So I'll answer that two ways. The first is I have never been in a more welcoming environment in terms of I came in and asked a myriad of questions and never once felt like I was the outsider, never once felt like I was a burden to the overall team. I see really the depot itself is a collective of like-minded, hardworking, patriotic individuals that are all rowing towards a distant shore, but that distant shore is one that's built on providing readiness to the warfighter. So that's number one. When someone comes to work every day at Letterkenny Army Depot, they can be assured that what it is they're creating today, tomorrow is in the hands of men and women around the world, that are preserving freedom for our partners and allies, or for us here in the continental United States. The second piece to that is there is plenty of opportunity for upward mobility within the depot. I'll give you an example. Mr. Todd Black, who is my deputy, so the second, the leader of this organization, right, outside of me, he started as a reservist coming in to the depot, and then onboarded as one of the lowest positions you could come into, driving buses for Letterkenny Army Depot, and is now the deputy director for Letterkenny Army Depot. And so that's an example of the upward trajectory that someone has the potential to achieve within the depot. So it's not an area where we look for stagnation. It is an area where, because of the breadth and depth of what it is that we do, there's significant opportunity for personal and professional growth.
No, that's great. You've built a strong culture out there, and so for young people who are looking at future careers, again, the depot's been here since 1942, and it is really an economic driver for our community. But I would encourage you to the extent that you can be connected to the installation, you should try to do that through your academic career, which could lead to a career. But there's obviously the federal system to apply for employment as well. So,
Yes, sir.
yes. We're going to transition. The depot's going through a major modernization program, and which we're excited about locally, because you're transitioning from what would really the appearance of a World War II depot to a 21st century depot in every way. And today being December the 17th, when we're taping this, there were two groundbreakings that took place today to further that modernization effort. Talk about what took place today and the projects that were announced and are moving forward.
Yes, sir. No, today was a fantastic day where we were able to groundbreak and inaugurate the beginnings of two specific projects. One is an anechoic chamber. Okay, and for those that don't know what it is, don't feel bad. I didn't either, all right? But think of it as a really big building that has a bunch of noise dampening material within it, where for us, we are going to be able to place state-of-the-art, world-class radar systems for testing to ensure that they do what they're designed to do. It's a necessity. It has to occur before we send that out to men and women that are going to be in harm's way, relying on those for air and missile defense. And so this technology, from a military standpoint, organic industrial base standpoint, does not exist on the East Coast right now. And it will when this is built. So that's number one. And number two is
that really creates a niche for the depot in terms of its military value.
It does. And not only is it going to allow us to continue to better the processes that we have for existing systems like our Patriot radar system, but this is also paving the way for systems that we know we will have to sustain in the out years that we can already see being created by industry that we believe we're going to be responsible for sustaining, in 2028 and beyond. So that's number one. Number two is our access control point, which is going to allow us to better provide safeguards and security measures and traffic flow associated with, gaining ingress and egress onto Letterkenny Army Depot, as well as providing a more consolidated facilities for how our guards access vehicles, how individuals that are visiting the post can gain entry through our badging system. So it's really, frankly, bringing the depot to where it needs to be as we look at, the 21st century, as you spoke to. It's a long time coming. It is, I know for a fact that it is going to be welcome amongst not only just those that are working on the depot day in and day out, but also, visitors that may not necessarily visit on a daily basis, but do continue to need access for personal and professional reasons.
No, so those groundbreakings took place today. What's the timeline for as you spoke at the groundbreaking, you're excited about the groundbreaking, but you're more excited about the ribbon cutting
I'm up.
at the end. So what's the timeline?
Yes, sir. So working with the Corps of Engineers, they've been great partners. We have 2 current programs that we expect them to finish up this year. So having said that, they've shown that they can stay on time and on budget for the most part, and I expect that same thing to occur with these new projects. So I believe, I can't speak to the access control point, but I believe that the anechoic chamber will hopefully be done in the May, June, July timeframe of 2027.
Okay, so about 18 months.
About 18 months.
Okay, good. What are, looking forward, what do you see are the biggest challenges facing the depot, and what are the opportunities that you, how do we convert those challenges into opportunities?
Yes, sir. So so to some earlier comments, again, I do believe that the workforce is an extant challenge, but one, as we spoke to with our vocational programs and our intern programs, we can continue to get after with the help of individuals like yourself and the various universities around the area. And so I think that will remedy itself as long as we continue to beat the drum and over-communicate the need for young, bright, motivated men and women to come in and give the depot a chance. I would say the other challenge, and it's not so much a challenge, just a reality that I think everyone is dealing with is, and we're going through it right now, is what do we need to look like to best posture ourselves for crisis and conflict in the 21st century? As we look and we see how the war has been waged in Ukraine and Russia, there's a lot of lessons observed and learned as to what warfare, as we get closer to the mid-21st century looks like. Unmanned aerial vehicles and the use of, fighting in an all-domain type of environment where cyber, plays a significant role, and where boots on the ground are always going to be a necessity, but we are unsure if we're going to have the protections that we had like we've seen in past wars, whether it was World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. And so I think as we go from a hardware to software-centric capabilities in a lot of respects, and you look at Moore's Law and just the rate at which technological advance is increasing, it's the human's ability to understand that technology is kind of flatlined, right? There's only so much that we can learn and so fast that we can learn it without injecting AI and machine learning into that process. But that's what we're doing now. So I would say, I think the challenge is how do we keep up from a sustainment standpoint? As the Army iterates and does this transformation and contact that the Secretary of the Army and General George are laser focused on, I need to ensure from a sustainment perspective that the new weapon systems that are going to ensure us success in crisis and conflict whenever that occurs around the world that we are prepared from when it's fielded. I need to look at about 8 or 10 years and understand that we're going to be beholden to ensuring the sustainment of that capability. And so being able to backwards plan and facilitize and gain the machinery and then gain the men and women who are trained to conduct said maintenance on various platforms across broad portfolios, that's difficult to do because, it's part art and part science. And so we have a team of individuals that work across multiple echelons to attempt to gain that data as quickly as possible to try to realize what that might look like so that we can get those military construction fundings and efforts underway as quickly as possible. So that when that item comes in from, Europe or from the Indo-PACOM, we can tell our program managers and the Army and the Joint Force, we are prepared to fix, maintain, and sustain that item now, and they're not going to be waiting on me, because the Army's not going to wait. The Army's going to move out at the speed of war to deliver what they need to deliver around the world, and this depot needs to be postured to do that, and that starts now.
So you've been at the depot for what, 4 months?
Around 5 months, yes, sir.
5 months. 5 months. And this is your first exposure commanding an organic industrial.
It is, yes, sir.
You have remarkable insight
Yeah.
to what's going on, and
I'm well coached.
Well, you have Hall of Fame coaches, but you're obviously a quick study on what's taking place, because you've got, as I said, great insights and perspective as to where we are and what the future is. And I say that, as I said, this is arguably the best one we've had.
Yeah, we're going to kick off the new year with this one.
Yes, we
Yes.
are. And again, the FCADC, and we support Team Letterkenny, which is a community defense group whose primary mission is to support the depot in whatever ways we can. And we've built a partnership that extends over the more than 25 years now. What can we be doing as a community to support the depot and so that we can ensure its future? You've been here since 1942. We want to make sure you're here to 2142 and beyond. So I'm not talking just the next couple of years. I mean, for the next 150 years.
Yes, sir.
What can we do to be helping you?
So that's a good question. I would say, at the risk of sounding redundant, in reality, I think that the strength of your organization, Team Letterkenny, and those other community leaders that I've had the great pleasure of meeting with in these last 5 or so months is really carrying the water of the messaging as to why this depot exists. Provide air and missile defense and precision fire sustainment for the Army and our Joint Force, and then how we can continue to be successful as we have been over the last 83 plus years. And so it does come from your touch points, and your touch points have the ability to communicate in networks and with people that I simply just haven't had the time or space for, or may never see just because of the circles I might run in. And so, I guess my only ask from the command, as a commander for Letterkenny Army Depot, is just continuing to voice, as I know you do, and be an advocate for the depot, what it is we provide to Chambersburg, Franklin County, and the greater Cumberland Valley, and really the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and beyond. And as those new businesses come in, as we were speaking to earlier, just communicating that, hey, you just passed by Letterkenny Army Depot. Here's how they helped in Normandy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Here's how they helped in Korea and Vietnam and Desert Storm. And here's what they're doing in the 21st century, ensuring ready combat formations around the world to our Army, Joint Force, and allies and partners. And then, giving out those, I think I had given some handouts before of what it is that we're able to help Franklin County with in terms of $500 million a year in economic impact, the second largest employer in Franklin County. And really all that comes back to say we can't do it without the men and women that are waking up every morning, coming through our gates, and putting wrench to machine to ensure that we're providing munitions and material readiness. And we're doing so at the speed of war and at a level that no one else in the world is able to do. Is not only remarkable and factual, but something that I ask each and every person that I do have contact with that has stakes within the community to please pass on.
No, we're happy to do that. And as someone who's had the privilege to tour out at the depots a number of times and going through Building 350, which is the main production facility, you see the artisans that are at work and so on. But at the end, and I think they've been put back up. I used to get on Dale McClanahan consistently about this, that he took the pictures down for a while. But there are pictures from Iraq and Afghanistan where the depot was highly engaged in up-armoring the Humvees and the like, and it was where you saw four warfighters standing around a vehicle with a "Thank you, Letterkenny, because you saved us."
Yes, sir.
And when you see that, it really brings the focus back on how important the work is and the fact that we are supporting. And I believe that, as I think that the U.S. system of agriculture is a separator with the rest of the world, in that we can feed ourselves. Our organic industrial base is separates us from other countries because we can sustain. A lot of countries have first-rate capabilities. We have first-rate capability and a sustainment part of it, which I think separates us from the rest of the world.
Yes, sir. And so, to your point, one of the things that I talk about when I'm walking the shop floors and talking with our artisans is, and I get tunnel visioned on a singular task, and then it's just me conducting a task. What I ask them is to, when they have the time and space, to step back and be a bit introspective and realize what it is they're doing for the broader community. And what that really means is the things that they are legitimately doing today, a month from now, may be in places like the Ukraine, like Israel, and what they're doing is twofold. One, they're providing systems that are safeguarding hospitals and schools and protecting those that can't protect themselves. That's number one. Number two, they're also putting together and verifying missiles that are going to take off this earth people that deserve to be taken off this earth, that would exercise violence against those that are innocent. And so when I couple that and I say, that's what you're doing, right? You came to work and you think you're just working on a radar. No, what you're really doing is you're ensuring that when a missile is launched into a place like Israel or Ukraine, that it will be discovered and it will be shot down before innocent lives can be taken. And so when we allow ourselves the time to look back and to take a real look at what it means strategically, not just for the United States of America, but for our partners and allies, it's powerful, and it is significant, and it is something that is truly occurring each and every day on Letterkenny Army Depot. And I'm super proud to be one of the newest teammates there, and I'm looking very much forward to my next 18 months.
We're glad you're there as well. Again, we thank you for your service. Now I have to ask one last question. So this is hard.
He
to
already
imagine.
said
wait,
Grateful Dead.
Wait. Yeah, it's hard. No, it's hard to imagine.
Yeah,
You
know
are
what?
not the typical deadhead. Let me put it that way. We'll just let it go at that. That's remarkable that you are. That's great.
I did go to a state school. Okay, Colorado State University is a little crunchy, right? So
all right.
That's great. So, I assume you are obligated to watch the Army-Navy game.
So
what happened?
I'm gonna disappoint you.
You didn't
all
watch
right?
it.
I am sports agnostic, meaning I don't care about any. I have no sports team.
I thought you guys had to care for that one.
I go to my kids' sports games.
For one game, don't you have to care?
Okay, so I listen to the sports game because I don't have it on. My television doesn't have Paramount or whatever it was on. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Right.
But so I listened to a part of it, a portion of it. My grandfather was in the Navy for 38 years.
Okay.
And so he was very disappointed. He was very disappointed when I said I'm joining the Army. No, but so my mother, as a Navy brat, roots for the Navy. I am obliged to root for the Army, but I'll be honest, I didn't lose any sleep over it. Yeah, I don't. It's kind of like white noise. I'm indifferent to it all.
Okay, do you still follow wrestling?
I don't really follow wrestling anymore.
Oh, man, you
I
got
don't
to follow Penn State
I
wrestling.
don't follow anything.
Penn State wrestling.
So back in the day, I used to go to summer camps at Clarion
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
and in Slippery Rock.
That's a graduate.
So, fantastic! Some of the best wrestling in the United States. Yep.
So you're not a Bills
But
fan?
I'm not a Bills fan.
okay.
Nope. I'm not a. I don't. There's no Bills. There's no Giants. There's no Yankees or Mets. There's no. I don't.
I could.
My wife is a bigger sports fan than I am. My wife is all go blue as a Michiganer, you know. But
Yeah. I want to know what she said when you guys first met, and she's like, "So what do you do?" And you're like, "Well, I like to play the violin. I dabble in paint, oil and acrylic.
And I research
I'm a
buffaloes that live.
yeah, I'm an
Years ago.
I have a degree in archaeology. My question is, I have a question for you regarding, when you were overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan, you're in a part of the world that has ancient history. Iraq,
Babylon.
yeah, Mesopotamia.
Oh,
and
yeah.
all. Did you get a bug or anything to want to, since you were over there, you could see those sites,
Yes.
or maybe?
So I toured the ziggurat of Ur, which, if you know that area, that's like one of the oldest still existing human-made. What's a ziggurat? Pyramid-esque
Yeah.
type. So that was remarkable. And then we'd walk around and you'd be like, this is technically where like the Hanging Gardens of Babylon should be.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Truly the cradle of civilization, right? Where cuneiform came from, where people went from being pastoralists into creating the first agriculture. It is absolutely remarkable.
There should not. We shouldn't be allowed to. Somehow we should be able to zone that off. That you can't do anything to destroy it.
Yeah, we would love it, right? UNESCO, right? But it is also very. It's a very odd way to go. Like I'm a 50 cal gunner in a Humvee in Iraq, but at the same time, it's like I can enjoy the beauty that is the area that I'm in.
Yes.
Right.
Because that's the kind of the world we live in, right?
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's everything.
Well, I have to tell you, this has been
this is great.
Really, time passed very quickly. Colonel Lewis, thank you for being a part of this today. Thank you for what you do, and I think we can all feel assured that Letterkenny is in good hands, and the future is bright, and we appreciate all that you are doing. So, thank you, and this will air. It'll be our first podcast in 2026.
2026.
And we extend best wishes to you and all those listening for a healthy and prosperous new year. So thank you for being part of this today.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Colonel.